Dr. Katrin first podcast about goal setting, manifesting, belief systems, neo-hacking and science, and especially about the freedom to be happy.
I have left the USA and today I will tell you why. For reference, for 10 years I came to the USA every year. I traveled to almost all major cities. I have my American family living in the USA in Chicago. My uncle and his 4 sons, already with their families in turn. And I even studied at an American university and defended my PhD thesis through remotely, but my English is very good. But originally, I'm thinking in Russian. All my acquaintances were sure that I somehow dream and see to emigrate to the USA, where I belong. Especially, it is very easy for me to get a green card as an outstanding person. And so, I decided to give the USA a chance as a place for permanent residence and to went there for 6 months to find out all the details of getting a green card through the visa talents, and by the time I had already found out everything and with me expressed willingness to work with all the lawyers, I finally realized that I don't need it and I don't want to live in the US. So, why I decided not to live in the US? 15 minuses of the country from my personal experience. Let's go. The US has made the best PR campaign of its country, but that's the bad part. You come to a country after watching movies and thinking it's a paradise, and you encounter the New York or Los Angeles syndrome and you're terribly disappointed. Too high expectations and too much contrast with reality. Very dirty. Practically everywhere, there is a lot of garbage, graffiti, old buildings in the cities. There are clean neighborhoods too, but they are very few. I lived in a family neighborhood in Miami, where rich Russian families with children rent apartments. But there was always trash lying in the streets, homeless people and drug addicts hanging around. As if I lived not in an expensive neighborhood with one-bedroom apartments for $5,000 in a month, but on the highway. Very dangerous. I hooked up a program that displays all the crimes and offenses for the last 7 days in the neighborhood. Photos and names of criminals who apprehended them and other data. In our dear family neighborhood, every day there were sexual assaults, missing children, and one time I saw with my own eyes a shootout in the street at the night between some gangs. And even without the program, I felt unsafe all the time. I've been accosted by homeless people on the street. Also, there are often mentally unhealthy people on the streets, which is unsettling and unsafe. Taxation. The US is one of 2 countries where citizens are required to pay taxes on all worldwide income, even if they don't live in the country. This makes it difficult to open accounts overseas. Banks are reluctant to work with American citizens due to bureaucracy and reporting. I personally know people who have renounced their American citizenship for this very reason. Hence, their inconvenient medicine. Health insurance costs a cosmic amount of money. The minimum insurance costs about $500 in a month, but even for this money, it's not always possible to get the necessary services or tests. In case of illness, part of the cost still falls on the patient, and the quality is not the best. When I got sick in Miami with pharyngitis, I went to the doctor with my insurance and he prescribed only one antibiotic. When I got sick with pharyngitis in Moscow, the doctor prescribed me a bunch of tests and prescribed a large treatment of 10 drugs and physiotherapy, after which I didn't get sick for 3 years. Lack of European architecture and culture. I'm a fan of architecture and historical cities. There are very few places in the US with a European atmosphere. If you're in New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., and downtown Chicago, the rest are the modern buildings that don't give me the same authentic pleasure as Europe or Moscow. In the US, I rarely missed their beautiful historical architecture. Food quality, cost, and flavor. In the US, agriculture is not subsidized. Farmers use GMOs and antibiotics, which affects the taste of the food. Delicious food is rare. Most often, you have to find it in stores with the European or Russian goods, where I am, and even the local shops. Even coffee is hard to find. Good coffee and in Starbucks drinks are not tasty and very expensive. On the topic of costs, flying out of New York, I bought one coffee for $13. Flying to Belgrade, I bought two of the same coffee and two croissants with the cheese and ham for $13. It's mean that in US, all more expensive in 4 times. Language barrier. There are a lot of immigrants, especially from Spanish-speaking countries, who don't want to learn English. It is not difficult for me to learn Spanish as well, but it is still an English-speaking country. Cost of services. In Miami, I had a manicure for $130. In Samara, in Russia, the exact same manicure cost me $20. Cleaning of my apartment costs me $150. With the cleaners cleaned only one bedroom and the hole in my apartment just forgot. And only after complaints, the next day, the work was done. $150 for cleaning a small bedroom. It's like that with everything. All services are the most expensive in the world, even more expensive than in Dubai, and at the same time of the extremely low quality. The minimum wage in the US is $4,000 in a month, even for an assistant. High salaries don't incentivize workers to develop and provide quality service. Often encountered negligence, mistakes, lack of responsibility, bureaucracy, and inconvenient services. Many transactions require a personal visit to the bank. Payments can be blocked without explanation, refunds, and unexpected. Once I was refunded money from the Apple Store because I paid from a foreign bank card and I had to wait 30 days for the refunded money. Once I was refunded money from the Apple Store because I paid from a foreign bank card and I had to wait 30 days for a refunded money to be credited back to my account. I had my plane ticket cancelled right before my flight. For the same reason, and to give up my phone number, I had to write a physical letter to the phone company. Next minus, climate and environment. The climate in the US is very harsh compared to the Europe because, as we know, Europe is washed by the warm Gulf Stream current, which carries its waters from the equator. And the USA is washed by the cold Labrador, which takes its water from the Arctic. This is why there is strong cold and winds in winter, and heat and humidity in summer. The variations are very strong and abrupt. Often in different areas, there are hurricanes, fires, and other cataclysms. Time zones. For me, who has business and friends in Russia and Europe, it was very uncomfortable. I had just woken up and a lot of events had already happened. Everything had burned down. I couldn't get through. I felt like I was in the middle of nowhere. In Bali, by the way, it was the opposite. I had already woken up and done a lot of things myself. and the people I needed were still asleep. But it's still more comfortable than waking up at 5 a.m. every day in the US and getting right into the thick of the things. Very far from Europe and European events. Many world events that I'm interested in take place in Europe or close to Europe, in Moscow, in Dubai, but it is very far and expensive to fly there from the United States. Green card restrictions. Why I decided not to get a green card? A green card requires living in the USA for at least 6 months. Otherwise, it can be taken away. To leave the US, you need to get a special permit. And even with a green card, you have to pay taxes on all your worldwide income. For me, this is inconvenient, as I no longer plan to live in the country permanently, but would like to come for short periods. Now, a lot of my talented and successful friends and acquaintances, including those born in the US, are living there because of the points listed above. Many have moved to Europe or Asia. On the plus side, the USA still has a very strong global image, and it's very prestigious to live in this country. There are a lot of brilliant and successful people there, incredible business opportunities. It is very easy for talented people to get citizenship. It is nice if you don't have the opportunity, as I do, to live absolutely anywhere in the world. The USA is still a good option, especially if you have money. But if you have the money, why pay more? And I'll be looking further for the hope of my soul. What city or country do you think would be a good fit for me? Because I've been knocked off my feet. Where do you live? Katrin Force was with you, and I invite you to my free training week at the link below this video. In this free week of training, I'll help you dismantle your limiting beliefs, raise your energy level for new accomplishments, and manifest a new ideal reality so you can be free as a bird and live where you want to live, not where you have to. Love everyone. Subscribe and see you soon.